Okay, we're back, and we're now ready to create our first event within the RideStat software. If you haven't spent some time listening to the introductory video that talks about events and rides and the differences between the two, I would recommend that you spend some time viewing that video before continuing on, as we are going to move fairly quickly through creating our first event and ride stats and not go into the finer details of events and the pros and cons of how they can be entered. So, to get started, what we're going to do is click on the ride calendar icon and then click on create events. What you'll be brought into is essentially a wizard style event creation screen in which we're going to first enter information about our event, then we're going to choose the ride leaders for the event, choose the ride start locations or just a single location, and then do a final save on the event that will send it off to the scheduling team for review. And once they approve it, then you'll be able to schedule rides against this event that you've created. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give our event a name. We're going to call it the Lake Jane Ride. And we're going to set a default ride type of brisk. As we mentioned in the other video, this can be changed once you start actually scheduling the ride. Our best practice for scheduling the event date is to start at the beginning of the ride season and then go through the end of the current ride season. So my start date is going to be the beginning of March, and I'm going to go through October 31st, which is the last day of the TCBC ride year. Our earliest and latest scheduling window. These are the times in between which the ride can be scheduled. This is in military time. So since I plan on running this on both weekends and potentially after work, I'm going to set a start time at the earliest of 10 a.m. and the latest of 6 p.m. As you can see, military time, 1800. The days that this can be scheduled on, I'm going to pick the weekend days, and I'm also going to pick Tuesday evenings as a day that this ride can be run. Over in the terrain, I'm going to say it's rolling. As you can see, there's multiple options here. There isn't a lot of hilly stuff around here, so rolling or flat is probably going to be used the most. And then I'm going to set the distances. This is going to be the lowest or highest distance that this could be set at. And if you set it between 0 and 100, I'm just here to tell you that the scheduling team is going to send it back to you and tell you to try again. We really want these events to be somewhat representative of what the ride is actually going to be. So in this case, these rides are typically going to be between 20 miles and they could go as high as, we're going to say, 50 miles on a weekend. Now, the next areas here are for Ride with GPS URLs. Now, if I've created my own URL or my own Ride with GPS ride and I want to paste in the URL here, I can do that. Or I can select one that's been pre-created within the Club Ride with GPS account already. In this case, I haven't added my ride to the Ride with GPS Club account, but I do have a URL of the ride that we're going to do. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it into here. Now, a Ride with GPS URL is not required, but it's highly recommended. There are a great number of members within the club who use Ride with GPS and download the maps to their Garmin or other device that is on their bike or directly on their phone, and they can be used in lieu of having paper maps and paper cue sheets, and is much more reliable. So I do highly recommend that you use a Ride with GPS route if at all possible. Although there are going to be some mapless rides that all stay together, and those are perfectly fine as well. These are not mandatory fields. Finally, we're going to have some description about our ride, and the best practice here is that the better the description of your event and your ride, the better. It really gives members and potentially guests a good idea of what to expect on the ride. There are a number of formatting tools that can be used for formatting the information that you're putting into here. One of the things that doesn't hurt is to create, is to type it up beforehand and then copy and paste it into here. However, the more descriptive, the better. I am not going to put anything into the description merely for the sake of time. At this point, this page is done, and I'm going to click on Next. And at this point now, I'm going to choose the ride leaders who can lead this ride. So by default, I'm going to choose myself. And when we're entering this information, I can find ride leaders by either typing in their member number. I can do it by typing in their last name or part of their last name. Or I can do a combination of first name, last name, in which I just use a letter of each. As you can see, I put a B space F, and I am the only one that comes up in that case. So I can find ride leaders in this case in a number of different ways. So in this case, I will go ahead and put myself in, click on Add, and then I'm going to go ahead and add Jim Pedersen, as you can see here, add him, and I will add Lyle Quimby as well. Now that I have the ride leaders added for this ride, I can click on Next. And at this point, now I'm going to choose the location. In the previous videos, we talked about how to search and make sure that a location is available before you enter your event. Why is that so important? Because you're going to be really disappointed if you get to this area of creating your event and find out that your location isn't there, although we do have a new location button now that is new for this year, which is extremely helpful. But since we took the steps in creating it last time, I believe it was Health East that we're going to do it from, and when I spell it correctly, it will bring up the correct information. So there we have Health East Maplewood. I'm going to go ahead and select it and click Add. I can add additional ride start locations if this event was going to possibly start from some other locations. Actually, maybe I will add the Maplewood Community Center as well. And I can't spell that either, unfortunately. There we go. So I'll add that one as well. And that's good. So at this point, when we click on Next, we are now going to come to the final review of the information that we've entered. So we have our event name, what days we're going to do it, our distance range, we've got our ride with GPS URL, we have our leaders, where it's starting, everything looks great. I did not add a description for sake of time. Please make sure that you do it when you create your event. But at this point, I am ready to go ahead and save this event. And when I do so, it is going to go and send this information off to the scheduling team. They're going to do a review of it. And once they approve it, it will then be available to schedule rides against. So I'm going to go ahead and save this event, confirm it, and at this point it's awaiting approval. And generally the approvals get taken care of very quickly, but please do have a little bit of patience as our scheduling team likes to be out and ride their bike as well, so they're not on call 24 hours a day, but turnaround time is generally very good. So that's it for creating your first event. Next, in the next video, we're going to go ahead and start scheduling some rides against our new event once it's been approved. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.